Bianca with Leaders in Business podcast, where CEOs and executives in the digital marketing and social media space share their best advice. It is six questions in 9 minutes because leaders know what they're talking about. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Elliot Carlyle, and I am an industry consultant, particularly fashion and entertainment, but also I do lifestyle, and I consult on everything from personal branding to diversity and inclusion issues, and to also diversity in marketing and personal branding, as well as digital marketing and branding as well.
Awesome. So, what's the best thing about leading your business?
The best thing about leading my business is that I get to work with people. I am in a B2B sort of business, but also I do heavy B2C, and I love that everything that I do directs to my personal mission, of course, which is building people for global influence. And so I love the fact that my business and my engagement in business is very tangible with people.
Awesome. So, I hear from others that it can be challenging to grow your business today with everything that is going on. So, what are the biggest challenges you see business leaders facing today?
Taking into account that today everyone, the entire world, is having to navigate the shift that COVID-19 has presented us, I would say that the biggest challenge that every business leader is having to wrap their mind and allow themselves to move through is this pivot or this economic and even cultural shift that the entire world is experiencing. And when we're all doing that at the same time, and it's been presented to us in a way that we were not able to prepare for it. No one expected it. No one anticipated it. It just happened. So we're all having to shift together. And I believe that what we are as leaders trying to figure out what's the best way that we can do this and sort of marry what we're now having to do in the new way of doing things and the new paradigm of business and engagement with what we had in place and what we had planned for the last 3 to 5 years and make it make sense. And I believe that that is the challenge because it's almost as if we have to throw away everything that we knew and build from scratch again, which is in terms of a creative business, it's kind of a beautiful experience because it is a moment to innovate. But when you're in a space that's a little bit more technical and logistical, it can be a challenge. But I believe that to wrap it up in a nutshell, I believe we're all trying to pivot the safest and most productive way.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Mhm.
what is your best advice that you can give to other business leaders about creating a successful business?
A successful business is one that has to connect with people. It has to have personality. It has to have humanity. It has to have human touch. At the end of the day, behind every concept, behind every idea, behind every product, every brand is a person. And I believe that when you allow your humanity and when you allow humanity to be engrafted in the day-to-day business flow and the messaging and the marketing and the movement of your business, it will always reach people because people connect with people. We can sell people things all the time, but at the end of the day, people still connect with people. And I believe that there are great businesses and then there are great products. And I believe that great businesses know how to have that humanity touch to reach people. The second thing that I would say is to make sure, as it's been a very big conversation, especially here in America, that diversity and inclusion is something that is really engaged in your business from a leadership level, from the top down, because when we engage people who are different from us, we are able to evolve, we are able to create greater, we are able to engage and impact more influentially because we have a universal perspective. And so it is very key that your business has a universal perspective. And what's the best way to do that? By making sure that you have a universal perspective represented in your leadership from the top down. Yeah.
Awesome. So, can you give like an actionable steps that business leaders could take to achieve about connecting with people?
Yes, be open and be open to difference. One of the things that I believe is often challenging for people, just the basic human psyche, we often connect and we are attracted to what is the same about someone else that we find with us. And so, but if we learn to naturally begin to celebrate and appreciate what is different, it allows for such a more meaningful connection because it positions you in a place where you have to learn. Many of us are, especially leaders, we're always in a place where we have to teach. And so it also gives you a different experience to be able to learn.
Totally. So,
Mhm.
What other successful business leaders like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on the podcast?
I like two people I would say that are very, very influential in my life. One of them is Dr. Sequita Sutton. As I mentioned at the beginning, I am also a certified life coach, and she is actually my master coach. And usually I don't recommend personal relationships on for a platform such as this, but she is just an incredible woman who is involved in so many different arenas and has so much influence and reach in terms of what she does as a coach and a psychologist. And I believe that her voice needs to be heard.
Awesome. I'll look them up. Now for the final fun question, who is the most interesting person to follow on social media and why?
Interestingly, I would have to say the first one that comes to mind is during the COVID-19 pandemic and everyone paying attention to social media and us all being glued to our devices, even though before the conversation was about how to separate from your device and now we're glued to it. I must say that Leslie Jordan, I've often said he should get an award because he kept us entertained during the pandemic. And it's wonderful to see how someone who is creative and who is used to being on screen and when you're in a time when you can no longer operate in your industry and perform the way and execute business the way that you normally do, but he took to social media to still engage with us and just be tangible with his audience. And I felt that it just was such a good representation on how to shift, and it really did keep us all entertained and gave us laughter and good spirits. And I believe that that's what you do in terms of a crisis, and that's what you do when a pandemic hits. You know, we all have to embrace it, but find a way to find joy and spread joy. And I really celebrate the fact that he did that. I enjoyed him. So he's the first person that came to mind.
All right. It was a pleasure having you on. So how can people find you?
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I never take it lightly that I get to share my voice, and thank you for having me on this platform. But people can find me easily on social media. I am on Instagram and Twitter at Elliot Carlyle. That's ELLIOTCARLYLE. And my website, which is www.elliotcarlyle.net. And all of my information is there.
Well, that's a wrap. This is Bianca with Leaders in Business Podcast. For more insights and ideas, go to our website, leadersinbusinesspodcast.com.